Welcome to Enlightened Evolution.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Christina.
We're here to discuss the ebb and flow of our soul's healing and transformation through self-reflection, choosing intentionally, honoring thyself, and following your inner guide.
Thank you for joining this safe space with us. Hello, and welcome to Enlightened Evolution. We have a very special episode this week. We have an interview with Miss Anna LeDonne. She is, I would say, a Renaissance woman. I was looking at your bio, and I mean, she's a holistic brand designer. She's a manifestation coach, an artist. I've seen some of your art that you've posted on TikTok. It's amazing. A yogi and a Reiki practitioner. So like all the things you would want in a best friend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a little bit scatterbrained at times, but it all kind of works together in the end.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, welcome to Enlightened Evolution. We're so glad you could be with us today. I have been following you probably for a few years on TikTok. I just love the content that you post, your energy that comes through. It's just like, you seem like such a sweet person.
Thank you so much.
You
That's
are
so kind to say. And
After
thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Welcome. After she told me about you, I binge creeped your TikTok.
That's awesome. Because, sometimes it just really feels like you're just posting to avoid, and it doesn't really affect anybody or anything. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to post this thought that I'm having today. So
why not?
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah,
everything I've come across, I'm like, oh yeah, it's very relatable. Yes. How long have you been doing TikTok?
I started posting on TikTok during the pandemic in 2020, when I feel like so many people joined. And
that was when I joined.
Yeah, it really was very freeing for me, because I feel like on Instagram, you have to be like a very curated version of yourself. And on TikTok, you can just say whatever crazy thing pops into your head and send it out into the universe. And they're like, okay, I don't care if anyone sees it. Yeah. It's just nice.
Absolutely.
You're very sweet and authentic. I love it.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us, I know everyone hates this question, but just a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Okay, so astrologically, if you would like to profile me, I am a Sagittarius sun, I'm a Capricorn moon, and a Scorpio rising. Ooh. And then I'm a generator in human design as well.
Can you tell me? Oh, okay. I don't think I know much about that.
Oh my gosh.
Can you can you touch on that a little bit?
Podcast.
I know, I probably could. Brief summary.
And I am not an expert, but so human design is essentially, it takes in astrological, it takes astrology into account, the I Ching. It's like a channeled method of understanding yourself. And there's 4 different types. So there's generator, there's manifesting generator, there's reflector and projector. Generator, manifesting generator, and manifester. There's 5 types. Okay. Manifesting generator is kind of between a manifester and a generator, obviously. And then it's actually very complicated to read the chart, so you really need someone who is an expert in it. But it's fascinating, and it really, if you get someone to read your chart for you, you're like, wow, I feel so seen by this.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to get into that.
Yeah.
I've tried to look at my birth chart. Well, I have looked at my birth chart. You just type in your date of birth and where you were born, and it generates. I love doing that. I felt seen by that.
Did you see what type you were?
No, I wouldn't even have known what to look for. Yeah. I don't think but I do. I remember typing that in, and I loved that.
It's very interesting. I actually I bring in an expert when I do my Aligned Abundance course, and I have her read everyone's, or just do like a little brief explanation of everyone's chart, because it can help you see like how you interact with the world, and everyone has a very different method of how they can manifest, and you can see it in your human design chart, like how you're meant to interact.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, very neat.
Yeah, I love that.
That's awesome. I'm sorry, we cut you off telling us about yourself.
No, I can't tell you much about human design, but I definitely could listen to human design being talked about all day. Okay, so a little bit more about me. I'm from New Orleans originally, a little bit north of New Orleans, Covington, Louisiana.
Okay.
And I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Woot woot.
Where do y'all live?
I am northeast of Atlanta. I'm about an hour 15 from Atlanta.
I didn't realize you were so close.
Yeah. And
I'm up here in Michigan.
I'm from Michigan, so that's how Kay and we went to high school together.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great.
But I love Atlanta. Oh, and I love me some New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. I know. I do miss it a lot. There was actually, I don't know if you saw in the news, there was a hurricane that hit New Orleans literally this week. It seems mostly okay, some flooding, but and my family is okay. But
okay, good.
Keep them in your thoughts.
Yeah. I hate that.
It's terrible.
But it is like such a magical place. So I grew up, I was raised Catholic, and I feel like being Catholic is like such a pathway to becoming a witch.
It really is.
You know, there's a lot of like trauma involved being like just queer and a woman in the Catholic faith, but it is very magical as well. And then I'm actually, I don't talk about this a lot, but I'm in a throuple relationship. So that was kind of an impetus of leaving Louisiana. I was just kind of feeling a little bit like I couldn't be my authentic self in my hometown. And so that's why we ended up moving away and moving to Atlanta. And we really love it here. And it's been nice just to have like a change of scenery where no one has like expectations of who you have been in the past. And yeah, that's where I am now.
That's awesome. I'm glad you found a community that embraces you, hopefully. And I can totally understand that. I think it was much easier. I didn't come out until really the past like 4 years, and being away from home really helped that. And being closer to a community, like Atlanta has a great queer community. It was much easier to feel like safe to do that.
Exactly. And I realize now that it was mostly like my own shadow, my own self that was holding me back, but just being in a new space has really helped, you know?
Definitely. Well, let's get into manifestation, because I think that's one of the first things that I saw. You have a lot of content on manifestation, and I think that's what got me following you. So can you kind of tell us what is manifestation?
Yeah, so I guess the short definition is manifestation is bringing something tangible into your life. Full stop. It's just about creation. And I think as manifestation gets to be more widespread, there's kind of been like a diluting of the message of what manifestation is, and people are coming to it with a sense like they knew that they want to change something about their lives, and they just kind of want it to happen instantly. But at the end of the day, manifestation is really about self-healing and becoming aligned with the most authentic version of yourself. So there's kind of a lot of like spiritual bypassing in the more generalized aspect of manifestation. A lot of the things that I see on TikTok that I feel like it's getting kind of misunderstood.
Yeah.
But really, when you start kind of like peeling back the layers of yourself, the layers of this version that you came to Earth to become, and not like the version that the world wanted you to be, that's when we become this aligned and magnetic version of ourselves.
Do you think a lot of it is honoring your yeses and your nos?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Building up your intuition is so important in this process of like, I think a lot of people, they're like, I want to become the most authentic version of myself, but I have no idea what that means. Like, they don't know who they are at all because they've just been trying to please everyone else their entire lives. And so, absolutely understanding like what your hell yes and your hell no are, that the things that light you up, what that's actually kind of the beginning part of my course is really about building up your authentic essence, and just following those things that light you up and bring you joy is so important.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that's so hard to just get to, like you said, so many of us have been stuck in people pleasing for so long that we don't even know who we are. And we kind of have to like shed all these layers of the mask that we've put on for other people to truly get to know ourselves.
Exactly. And like, I think as we are on this self-healing journey, it can become kind of all-consuming, and you feel like, oh, I have to be better, I have to be different, I have to like do all of these things. But really, like, who you are is at your core. Like, you have it already. You don't need to change. You just need to like become more of yourself. It's not something outside of you, it's something inside of you.
When it comes
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. When it comes to manifestation, do you think it's more of removing things from your life that don't bring you joy, or adding things? Or do you think it's equal both?
I definitely think it's equal both. So it's definitely an unlearning. Probably first and foremost is this like deprogramming of yourself, of the things that you've taken on to make other people happy. But then at the same time, we really need to bring in these new aspects that we bring us joy and that we want to see in our lives. And we have to see these new experiences in order to feel them. Like, if we don't have any idea that they're out there, we're not going to have that. So it's definitely both.
I could see that. Can you touch on kind of how manifestation works for those that maybe don't have much knowledge on it?
Absolutely. Okay, so the first step to understanding energy is understanding manifestation is that everything is energy. So while we're living in this 3D world, our entire world is simultaneously made up of energy. So like, matter appears to our senses to be solid, like this table, I can put my hands on it, I can feel my body, but underneath it everything is energy vibrating at various frequencies to form patterns. And so our reality is based on perception. So like, your reality is completely different from my reality because we have different ways of perceiving it. And this is powered by our brain and our nervous system. And so basically our brain and nervous system are making decisions for us based on our life experience. And this is mostly built up in our early childhood. So in our early childhood, we learn what is too hot, too cold, what is dangerous, what is joyful, what is heartbreaking? And we learn all of these inputs to guide us in our subconscious through life. And so one fact that I like to bring out is that our brain processes 400 billion bits of information per second, and we are only aware of 2,000 of these. So that is like, the world is coming at us in so many ways that we can't understand, and our brain is just trying to process this little tiny bit that it can. So
no wonder why I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, the world is so noisy, and so our brain is taking these cognitive shortcuts to show us what it believes is happening. And so what it believes is happening is formed when we are a baby, when we are really young. And so through the process of manifestation, we're working with these subconscious belief systems, and we're kind of taking the power back and changing the meaning behind what our brain has decided for us. So we're working with these subconscious beliefs to say, okay, that might have served me in the past, but that doesn't have to be the case anymore.
I like that.
That's very true. I know my nervous system reacts to certain things, particularly in my romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's fear-based. The way I react is fear-based, and just stopping for a moment and recognizing why I'm even upset. I can now more so now just quickly process and move past it versus ruminating on it all day, which in return helps me like cultivate a healthy relationship. But it is hard to get out of patterns and change your belief system when you've been just like indoctrined with this. Everybody else's like family and culture and even like society, whatever you've been exposed to, trying to find your own way and not just follow behind what you've been told your whole life. It's very hard.
Yeah, it is. And because until we start exploring these belief systems, we don't even realize that it is a belief system that we have. We just think this is how the world is. Mm-hmm. And we're just running on these programs that, if once you kind of start to get curious about them and deprogram them, then you can be like, oh, this is why I think this way. And then you can start to change that belief.
Awesome. And that kind of brings us to the next question of like, what are some practical ways that we can start to reprogram our subconscious beliefs?
Yeah. So I think about this basically in 3 steps. So the first step is to feel safe in our body. And the only way that we can do this is by honoring and nourishing our nervous system. And so we can do this, like, everything that we put in and into our body is affecting our nervous system. So it's the food that we eat, it's the environment that we're around, it's all of the, the stressful social media kind of like inundating us all the time. So we can nourish our nervous system by breath work, taking deep breaths, walking in nature. Any kind of movement is going to help nourish your nervous system. Any kind of singing, laughing, dancing, these kind of like communal activities that we do together are so healing for our nervous systems. It like moves the energy right out of you. Mm-hmm. Things like shaking, like if you want to like kind of like bounce up and down, those are really good. Meditation obviously is great. And EFT tapping is a really good one to help move energy out of your nervous system as well.
I want to get more into that. I've seen some videos on it and tried a little bit here and there, but I'd like to make it a regular practice, I think.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I work on it with my therapist, actually. So we'll like bring a certain piece of self through EFT tapping, and I'll be like bawling, crying the whole time, and then afterward you're like, wow, that was crazy. That was
do you do your
so
own
healing.
tapping, or do they do it for you?
So my therapist is like virtual, so I do the kind where you just tap on your arms like this, and then I also do video, like YouTube videos online. You could just search EFT tapping, whatever, and I'll do the kind where you tap your forehead and tap under your eyes, tap your chin, tap on your hand, but both work extremely well.
Before you get into the second one, something you brought up that reminded me, I also have a religious background, and now I'm just non-religious, but I remember in church, people would always talk about like catching the Holy Spirit when you're singing and things. And I would, I'd get this feeling of like euphoria and connectedness singing in the church. And I thought, oh, I'm catching the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But now, like when I sing, other songs, and like when I go to live concerts and things, it feels like a religious experience almost. It feels like that deep connection.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. Like that the church is doing magic, even though they condemn magic. But the singing and being at a concert absolutely is one of the most like spiritual experiences I feel like you can have. There's just so much energy.
There is. My husband will laugh at me. We went to a Dermot Kennedy concert. I mean, I cry at like almost every concert, but I had like my sunglasses on. He looks down at me and there's just tears streaming down my face. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm great. It's just beautiful."
Absolutely. I know. I'm really excited. I'm going to the Hosier concert. Next week.
I just talked. Is it in Arizona?
It's in Houston, and I was supposed to go like 2 months ago, but it got rained out, and so it got rescheduled.
Oh, me and my boyfriend just looked up tickets for him, and girl, have fun. I want to go so bad.
I know. I'm really
That's awesome. He's going to be
spiritual experience.
It's going to be an amazing concert.
I'm really excited. And that I was missing that so much during the pandemic. Like just being around live music and being at like raves and things like that. So like it's just
my soul craves it.
Such a community experience that you can't not be happy when you're there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. You were on a roll there.
Okay, so step 2, is that where we're at?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So on becoming safe in your body, step 2 is that deep inner self-exploration. So this is where we're getting curious about our limiting beliefs and understanding where they're coming from, and journaling, working with a therapist, talking to your family and friends, and just trying to recognize these patterns that you're in. So many people don't do this step, this inner self exploration, but this is the most important part, is getting curious. And once we can understand these limiting beliefs and kind of where they developed, then we can start to shift them. So one way to do this inner self exploration is to just notice when you're feeling very triggered in your life, just like you were saying in your relationship, just noticing like, okay, I'm having an elevated reaction to this experience. Maybe where is the first time that I ever felt this way? And just kind of like sitting with that and being like, okay, where did I pick up this information from? Is it something where, maybe my mom said something to me when I was little. Maybe I learned it from a friend that, maybe I was like expressing some kind of like pure part of myself and I got shamed for it, or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then once we can kind of sit with that and journal about it and like understand where we picked it up, we can start moving that energy through us.
I'm going to take that with me.
Yeah, that's a great way to start it. And then step 3 is moving that energy through. So it's your expansion and your surrender. So then we can begin. This is where that second part of, yes, we're unlearning and now we're learning. Okay. So we unlearned this programming and now we're bringing in new things to our consciousness that feel good and things that we're just following our joy. We're looking around for people that are kind of mirroring the experiences that we desire back to us. And social media is a great tool for this because it allows us to be connected with people that we would never have been in contact with. Whereas back in the day, you would have just been exposed to the people in your town. And so that's a really positive way to look at social media as a tool to bring all of these expanders into your life. And then the surrender part is the most important, which is that deep letting go and trusting of the universe that everything is going to work out. And that it's so hard. That surrender piece.
I was just going to say, that's the hard part.
Because,
the hardest, yes.
We want to hold on so tight and we want to make things happen and we can't force anything good into our life. We just have to really flow. And it's really like a play with the universe. It's a co-creation. It's just like you're feeling all of these inputs and being like, oh, that's interesting. I want to go over there. And like just letting things happen.
I love that. And kind of being detached from the outcome so much.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is how we're reprogramming our subconscious beliefs. In terms of manifestation, obviously there is an outcome that we desire, right? So we are putting our intention into this with, okay, I've sat with myself. I've kind of deprogrammed a lot of these beliefs. And now I'm looking at, okay, what are my desires from like a very authentic point? So it's not just like, oh, I want a new TV in my living room. It's like, okay, why do I want a new TV? What is the kind of purpose behind this? What deep need is this fulfilling for me? And so we can like make this list of our desires and see how it's fulfilling this authentic version of ourselves. And so we're setting that intention of these are the experiences that I would like to have. And these are the experiences that feel good and exciting to me. And then that surrender piece to let go of how that might look for you. Like you can't think like, okay, I want to be, I'm trying to think of a good example. I won't say that there's an absolutely wrong way to do it, but just letting go of what it might look like and leave a little bit room for surprise,
Definitely. I think there's a lot of beauty in that because like you said, we're really only coming from our perspective, and maybe there's more to learn and more to know and more to experience than we knew we could experience.
Exactly. yeah.
Awesome.
We have to leave room for that. Yeah. It could be this. Like, you can have your list. I always write on there, like, especially if you're trying to manifest like a job or a relationship or money, it's like, I want this or something better that I can't even fathom, you know?
Yeah. I like that. Like, I got this idea, but if there's something better, go ahead and bring that. That's awesome. What can you tell us about collective manifestation?
Yeah, so this is a topic that I really enjoy, because the process of manifestation is about self-exploration, but that will only take you so far. We're meant to live in community. We're meant to be supported. And we can't just use manifestation to attract everything we desire and stop there. It's really about creating this entire world that we live in together. We're co-creating this reality together, and we need to really think collectively for that. So we need to show up for others, and we need to be a piece of that change, and become that, as cliche as it is, become the change that you want to see in the world, And it's really easy to write the world off as chaotic, because it is right now. Something that I've been talking about for a while is that if you kind of think of our timeline as a big wave, there's eras of change throughout our history, right? We can look back in history and say, okay, this was a time where they were building, and this is a time when they were like learning and creating, and then this is kind of a time of chaos. And we're definitely in that time of chaos right now. And it's because we're on this precipice of change and transformation. So if you think about our timeline like a tidal wave kind of crashing forward, before it crashes forward into this new changed era, the tide pulls the wave all the way back. And that's this kind of like chaotic time that we're living in. But that is kind of the momentum that we need in order for this change to come crashing forward. So
it makes sense.
Like, I really believe that our collective transition from like a patriarchal society to a matriarchal society is happening right now. And matriarchies are focused on communal health, and they're not focused on hierarchy, which is what patriarchy is, just about hierarchy. And so we are, we're all here for a reason, and we're all here at this time, I feel like, to bring about this change that we want to see. And we can kind of do this through our actions in community with one another. So it's not enough to just attract all of the things that we desire and to kind of hermit ourselves away from the world because the world is chaotic and we don't like it. We have to actually go out into the world to make these changes that we want to see. So that can just mean showing up for your friends, showing up for your family, your neighbors, and, being the village that we want in our lives. And, it's really difficult. It's difficult to be kind, and it's difficult to try to change the world. It's way easier to write off the world as chaos and to kind of shy away from it. But I think that's really why we're here, is the effort and the dedication to kind of be kind and transform.
Absolutely. And I love that you broke it down in such simple ways of just showing up for those people in our community. I have a friend, her and her wife are transplanted from Pennsylvania. They don't have any family here. I don't have any family here. So we show up for each other in ways. They have 2 girls, and there's times where we watch them and different things so that they can have a sense of going out and doing their own thing without, they don't have grandparents here or anything, things like that.
Yeah, it's the little things that matter, right? Like just calling someone to make sure they're okay, or bringing someone some food when they're sick. Yeah, like a friend of mine, we all had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and so the 3 of us were sick at the house, and a friend of mine brought me a pot of her like Mexican healing soup, and I was like, you seriously bought, like, it was a giant pot of soup, and she just brought it over.
So good right now.
And I was like, oh my God, this is like the nicest thing you could have ever done. Like, I don't feel like cooking anything.
Yeah.
I think we've really, as a society, lost a lot of that with like being in these nuclear households and away from community. And yeah, we just need to bring that back.
I love that. I know we've been talking a lot about manifestation, but I am very much into Reiki, and I wanted to know, what got you into it? How long have you been doing it? Do you practice on others or just yourself?
Yeah, so I started doing Reiki maybe around 2018, 19, something like that. It was very much around kind of like this spiritual transformation that I was having. And I just saw it as an opportunity to learn more about energy and healing. And I really enjoy, so Reiki, I'll just explain a little bit what it is. It's like a laying on hands touch healing system. So the word Reiki translates to universal life force energy. And it's just it allows you to be a conduit for this kind of like source energy through your intention. And so, yeah, I do it. I don't do it a lot. Like, I don't get paid to do Reiki, but I do it in my courses and with friends of mine, and with I use it a lot on myself, and just kind of with intention for others when I'm just like wanting to send a little energy to someone, a little healing. It's really just like you kind of bring the energy into your heart and allow yourself to transfer it to someone else.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
There's something similar, and I just came across it the other day. It's not Reiki, but now I'm bugging myself because I can't remember the name of it, but it's a healing touch, but I guess it's not specifically Reiki. Someone brought this to me when my dad was in the hospital, and he was in a coma, and she came in and performed it for him. And the nurses were coming in, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Look, we will take anything at this point." At that point, I had never heard of healing touch or Reiki or anything. All I'm saying is he came out of a coma that he probably should have not came out of. And so after that, I started looking into it and got some Reiki for myself, and felt some like really significant energy shifts and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that.
We could do a little distance healing right now if you want. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and I can yeah. Why don't we do a little breath work to center us, and then whoever hears this podcast can receive a little bit of this energy also.
Oh, awesome. Right now, let's do it. Yes.
Okay. All right, let's take a deep breath in. and in. Now. And I want you to go ahead and put your hands on yourself, wherever feels intuitive for you that you might need a little bit of healing. We take another breath together. And I want you to feel into your body and feel where your hands feel the most drawn to go right now. Let's take a deep breath in together. And exhale. And one more. Let's finish it off. Sending so much love and healing to you wherever you are right now. You are seen and you are loved. Thank you.
Thank you. I
Thank
didn't know we
you.
were going to get that blessed
I
today.
love how spontaneous that was. Like, oh, we're doing this now. Okay, thank you. I love that.
Ooh. Oh,
How do you
awesome.
Mm. Better than I did 5 minutes ago. Certainly, it feels peaceful. I
Go ahead.
didn't know it could be virtual.
feel?
I guess
yeah.
any energy exchange, it doesn't matter if it's in the physical.
Yeah, so energy, it's really not bound by space or time in the way that we are. So the laying on of hands is a very special form of Reiki, and it works really well to be up close and personal with everybody, but distance Reiki is really powerful as well. And it's so when you do Reiki training, they attune you to this source energy, but I really believe that anyone can tap into this at any time. So if you don't have access to, going to get a Reiki training, I think you can tap into that in your heart also.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I been having issues with my sciatic nerve, and I just have this tremendous energy flowing through right now.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's amazing. I feel touched.
I do too.
Okay. So you mentioned that you have a course people can sign up for. It's called the Aligned Abundance course. Tell us a little bit about this course.
Yeah, so this is a 6-week container for holistic growth where we'll talk about the basics for understanding energy, a little bit like we talked about today. And you're going to get really clear on your authentic essence, I have a lot of tools that I provide in this course. I have like a 50-page workbook that goes along with video sessions. And then really the most transformative part is the group work together. So we meet once a week and just get to support each other in community, like we've been talking about. And you get this 7-step process of getting clear on your authentic essence, letting go of the stories that you're telling yourself, looking at the goals that you're calling in, facing your fears, and taking action towards your dreams. And this it's a group course. We meet weekly, and then it's also paired with one-on-one coaching. So you get like 2 one-on-one coaching sessions as well with me, and you just build your daily rituals and get to connect with a like-minded group of people who really want to create their dream life also. And this is going to be my second time doing this group course, so I'm really excited to be offering it again, and it's going to start October 8th. So the live sessions are on Tuesday nights. So it's like six consecutive Tuesday evenings. And it's $333. And
333.
Yeah. And this will be the like least expensive the course will ever be, because this will be like the first live session that wasn't really kind of like a trial. And yeah, it was really magical for the first one. Just having that like group container where we can all kind of like share our experiences and the goals that we're working towards and hold each other accountable, you know. It was really great. So I'm excited to
that's
have it
perfect.
Again.
We just talked about routines and rituals. So
yeah.
Flows right through.
Yeah, we just recorded before this and talked about some of our routines and rituals.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
And then you also, so another thing that you do is offer brand design services. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I know. I didn't talk about brand design at all, but that is what I do professionally. Is I am a brand designer, and this is kind of part of what I was talking about at the beginning, where I felt like I had all of these different interests that didn't really go together. And I realized actually these things do really go together. So instead of separating my professional life from my personal life, I've realized that bringing in my spirituality is actually really helpful for people who are starting businesses. So I do holistic and ceremonial brand design services.
Ooh.
So we're kind of bringing in that manifestation and abundance work into the brand design. So I do visual brand design. I'm a graphic designer. And so we'll come up with your logo and your messaging and the strategy and all of those like physical things that you need for your business, but we'll also take a really holistic approach to it and try to understand your authentic essence and bring that out into your brand design and your business strategy. So
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy it. It's pretty fulfilling.
It sounds like it, and it sounds like it really pulls in. We're getting ready to do another episode on kind of just like following your passion, and sounds like that really kind of brings all those things together.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like once you kind of get clear on who you are and what you're trying to bring into your life, a lot of the time it is an entrepreneurial path that you're going to take. And so you need all these little pieces. You need a website design, you need a social media presence, and all of these things. Like have been in the past very like strategy, linear, like do this to achieve that. But I think this new era that we're kind of being led into is a much more intuitive business era where, you know, you can work smarter, not harder. You can work a little bit less if you're attracting these things to you that you really are magnetized to.
Awesome. Kay, do you have any other questions for Anna?
I don't think so. Is there anything else you'd like to share, my dear?
I feel like we covered so many topics, so
you have
I'm good.
really blessed us today. Well, let me tell people where they can find you. So your website to sign up for the course is alignedlifedesign.com, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Perfect. And then your TikTok is at anna.manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And then Instagram is aligned life design.
Yes.
So you can find her there. Go sign up for her course. I think I will be signing up after we sign off because it sounds amazing. Sounds like a great resource to have, and just to grow in community sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You have blessed us beyond our expectations.
Yes.
It's been amazing having you.
Thank you so much
nice
for having me.
To meet you.
It was so nice to meet you. Y'all have a wonderful podcast. I'm so excited about y'all doing this every week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's really cool that you started this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can catch our full episodes on YouTube, and make sure you go follow Anna. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.